Hello and welcome to this episode of Startup with Poland, where we continue our deep dive into Poland's startup ecosystem. My name is Tessa McIver and I'm your host. Now today's guest is Karolina Wilk-Tryjanowska. And when we say that we invite key players from the startup ecosystem, I can vouch that Karolina really is one of these players. She has a vast experience spanning being in her own startup, being involved in accelerators and incubators, VC funds, and also mentoring and coaching startups. Karolina founded the new community, see.community, with a mission to reinforce amazing startup founders who often face market imperfections and biases. Karolina plans to disrupt the startup ecosystem, and I, for one, am itching to find out more. Karolina, wonderful to have you with us here today.
Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to have the discussion.
Well, I am dying to know, what is see.community all about? Please let us know.
So see.community is grown out of an extreme need in the ecosystem that still having so many wonderful innovations going on, we still struggle with the most important aspect for us, which is the social aspect. So how the technological community works, how we innovate so many industries, but sometimes we struggle to innovate ourselves. So see.community is currently a sort of a think tank, a little bit of like the pressure force to make changes, to showcase the best practices, to address what's the most painful for us, which is there are really big numbers of underrepresented founders in the community that are not well served yet. And we are here to change it step by step, by actions, by words as well. But we want to really prove that it's just wise to address different founders, different variety of ideas.
Well, I'm very pleased to hear about, this initiative. You have my full support. But, what really got me thinking when I first heard about see.community is the fact that, we do talk about diversity more and more. We talk about minorities being underrepresented, etc. And I find it quite odd that in an industry, the innovation industry, if we can give that wide label, that really should be at the forefront of leading the pack in all sorts of spheres, that actually we see that it's the local white man who is still actually, leading trends, and in most aspects, whether that's being a startup founder or investor or, very, very many other aspects, that it's actually those local white men who are still in the lead.
That is correct. That is correct. And that's what is still very shocking. After different initiatives and different, as you say, discussions around diversity and inclusion in the ecosystem, I think that fortunately, it's on everybody's lips right now. So we definitely, every single conference, we discuss the statistics, we discuss the situation, but in the same time, we do not see the real change.
Yeah, exactly.
Still, I have a pleasure to listen to multiple startup pitches, and I do not see many girls being there. I do not see them entering the stage in a confident way. Then I'm also in those small, intimate rooms of decision-making process. And in these rooms, usually I'm the only girl, I'm the only woman. And that's a little bit of a vicious circle that we're trying to change. So we need more girls in power on both sides, as startup founders, as leaders, but also in the VC, in the startup ecosystem.
No, absolutely. I mean, what I often find, though, when you say, that this conversation is taking place and the statistics are being shared, etc., but, that I'll go to a conference, I'll attend, panel after panel, keynote after keynote, and they're full of guys. So it's very rare to see, a woman even on a, panel discussion. However, you'll then have one slot in the agenda of the conference, which is the women's panel, where you do have all women, but actually they're discussing not, investments, not new technologies, but actually discussing the topic of women. And I sometimes find that, counterproductive. I mean, would it not be better if they were actually, those women, rather than sitting on the women's panel, were sitting on the investment panels and the tech panels, etc.?
Exactly. There are a few, I would say, trending topics right now, including female-led companies, including climate, including ESG in general, that we always put separately. And it's good that it gets a special attention, special mention, special spotlight. But it is still a very exclusive way to discuss the core of the business. We can showcase amazing startup founders with amazing successes. So why don't create the inclusive panel about the growth of startups in the ecosystem or in the sector or within the region. So we always try to, because the quantity of founders that can represent underrepresented founders is already pretty small, then when we get some, we already have them for the special path. And we don't include them in this majority conversation.
Which really has to change, I think. I mean, looking at the backgrounds, the career backgrounds of you and your co-founder, Jana, you both have a very rich and diverse career path, predominantly in the startup IT, investment scenes. How difficult have you found it as a woman yourself to actually, build that career in the ecosystem?
I would say it was an extremely interesting journey, but with many ups and many downs. And we've just recently, the both of us, we reflected on this to sum up a little bit what we've achieved so far, where we want to go, what's the direction. I was in the ecosystem from very different angles. I started in the founder's shoes, and that was a difficult moment because I was not only a girl founder, but I was also pretty young because it was in my high school time. And I remember it was my first moment when I felt that there is me and there is the wall that divides me and my male co-founders in any discussion we had. And then this was the moment I got some not nice comments from the outside world, that I felt that I should, just do 200% just to be even closer to, let's say, the level of everybody else in the room. So then I decided, okay, after this part of my journey ended, because the startup went to scaling, then to the exit, I decided that small steps I would like to help others, because the most important fact for me, and also one of the driving force for us to start see.community, is we've got so much from different people who are opening the doors for us. Also, strong ladies in the ecosystem. Without them, I wouldn't be here, my partner wouldn't be there. Our careers scaled up exponentially because we got help that we needed at that particular moment. So right now it's about giving this back to the ecosystem, but in a little bit a broader scale. So to match people together with investors that they need, with service providers that they need, with different resources that for people who, are lucky to have good education, good background, are wealthy enough to afford starting a startup. It's something that we have on a daily basis. But for underrepresented founders, people from smaller ecosystems, people from different minority groups, it is just more difficult. So we want to break those barriers, or rather build the bridges. So our careers are the perfect kind of trampoline for us to notice those things, those circumstances, and to create the better ones for others.
Okay, well, I love this, sort of approach of giving back to the community as well. And I mean, I really believe in communities and in the fact that we don't work in silos, but actually we can all really support one another in such a variety of different ways. And actually by that support, we can get further, quicker, and also with that, sort of mental also feeling of having a support network. So it sounds, great what you're doing. And I'm definitely going to be interested to see, the next steps and a lot of the results. But one question that I always think about in context of Poland is that, okay, when it comes to women, it's 50% of the population is female. So, there doesn't seem to be really a clear explanation of why there is an underrepresentation. But when it comes to racial minorities, Poland isn't very diverse, simply. So I wonder how, in the Polish context, you think that we can actually give more spotlight on racial minorities when they simply are not particularly present in Poland. How is it possible to achieve that?
So we can definitely say that in Poland, these different nationalities are the minority of our ecosystem technologically. But I do collaborate with many very brainy, very skilled people that were either relocating here because of the opportunities that Europe in total or Central Europe can bring, or they were forced to relocate. I was also supporting many processes regarding the war in Ukraine, that we were trying to help as many founders relocate and still keep on working on what they were doing and still getting access to funding and still trying to support that they can move on with their careers. There are many small communities that work or operate as small bubbles of different nationalities or different regions that come together here. We have French community very active in Warsaw. We have Eastern European communities from not only Ukraine, but also Belarus, also other countries. What we are right now trying to do is build it all together, because we can keep on, and I think that's a little bit the Polish way of doing this, we keep on creating very separate bubbles in which we work, we incentivize us to be better, to grow, but it's not about this. To make the ecosystem supportive in total, we need to make the bridges internally and with the external world. So that's also another way we try to reach out to many communities of tech developers from Ukraine or from product people from Kazakhstan. We do have those communities. They are not maybe very visible on a daily basis, but I would love to see Poland being more inclusive. And again, I think that technological world should be the one showing this path, like being like the one leading this change.
Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Karolina, you've got the beginnings of See.community. I'm sure you and Jana have thought about, what your plans are for next steps, what you plan to develop. So, can you share, what is in store for us with See.community?
Right. So right now, the community is launched. So we gather more and more people around us. We gather them using different, let's say, more digital ways of staying in touch with the community. But first of all, our priority right now is, even if we are coming from the similar background, we've experienced what it means to be a female founder, we experience all of those biases, we didn't want to have some pre-examined theses and assumptions about what we should provide. So we are still, even if the community is already launched, even if we have tons of ideas, we are still spending hours talking with founders that bring amazing ideas and amazing problems to us. Sometimes it's about, hey, I'm struggling with legal issues. How can we address it together? Or I experienced something awful in my workplace or in the startup I work for. How can I, define my next steps after this? Sometimes it's about something more, I would say, product or startup related, like I'm struggling to build my first MVP to go to investors. How can I convince them if I'm so early? So right now, we are starting to address as many needs, and we provide services, consultancy, help one by one. But the next step for us, and that's what we're creating right now, is to have like this end-to-end support in many different verticals where founders feel that they have some need. At the end of this journey, our big dream, and the thing that we're also working very, very intensively on, is to be able to provide funding as well. So within See.community, we would love to have funding that will go directly to the programs, projects that we are supporting, and we believe that these are right people, these are right ideas. Let's join this journey together.
Wow, that's, I really hope that's going to be happen. Well, I have no doubt, knowing both you and Jana, that that's, the direction you will manage to take. But very exciting to hear. I think it's, fantastic for the ecosystem that you have started this initiative. I think it's only going to make the ecosystem richer as a whole. And, I think it'll be a fantastic support network for so many of those founders out there who maybe do feel a little bit lost and underrepresented. So well done, and keeping everything crossed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Karolina, for joining me today and sharing with our audience the insights into See.community. And I recommend that everyone follows See.community and sees what we have in store. So thank you to our audience, and tune in next time for Startup with Poland.
Thank you very much. See you around.